with just a couple weeks before Arlington, Rostermania is going crazy, and you're not going to recognize any teams when we go back to Texas for HCS. What's up, guys? Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casted? I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS Weekly Report where we're explaining Rostermania and all of the craziness that has happened post-Dallas and coming up before Arlington. Obviously, you know that FaZe came out with the big win. Space Station Gaming in second, and Optic ended up being in third place. And let me tell you that every team that is beneath the top three is going through a change in North America. We're gonna talk about pretty much all of them. I'm gonna save a little bit of juice for the next video. And you know what? Native Red are one of the teams, but I'm gonna save that for a little bit later. Let's hop on down to Shopify Rebellion. So Shopify Rebels coming in, and we first got to see a change happening with Shopify Rebellion when we saw Carmea scrimming with Gilkey, Tusk, and Suppressed, all rocking the Complexity logo. Obviously, Tusk being the only, I guess, original member from Complexity, leads you probably asking, okay, what happened with Clever? It's like, well, hold on, let's don't get too ahead of yourselves. That was the first sign that we saw, at least tangible, not just rumors, that Carmea ultimately was leaving Shopify Rebellion and going to be replaced by someone else. If we fast forward just a little bit, eventually we find out that YNOT, Rain, and Mental have signed up with Cycle, the young superstar of Complexity, and Cycle is now filling in the role that Carmea left behind. I think Carmea is a phenomenal talent. I think YNOT recognized that very early on, and that's the reason why he invested so much time and effort into him. But at the end of the day, maybe Carmea's playstyle didn't exactly fit the mold on which Shopify Rebellion ultimately want to play. When I think of Cycle, I think of him filling that role a little bit better, you know, dinking and dodging, staying alive, picking and choosing his battles. Where when I think of Carmea, I think also of a slippery player, always able to stay alive, but a little bit more of that damage, a little bit more of a forward facing player. So I like the acquisition of Cycle, even though you guys know I'm a huge fan of Carmea. I could see Carmea fitting into many different systems, and I'm excited to see exactly where he lands. But Shopify Rebellion ultimately making kind of that first move that we saw on paper here, with Carmea scrimming with Gilkey, Tusk, and Suppressed, and then eventually we see Shopify Rebellion signing up for Arlington, trying to get their pool play spot with Cycle. So again, we can talk about Native Red a little bit later. Now let's talk about Native White, and we're gonna go right back to this, because this kind of was started the rumbles, again, not rumors, but literally when people stop just believing when I was tweeting saying Rostermania was coming, and they started saying, oh, hold on, we can see something. Tony's not just blowing smoke, he's not just lying. Rostermania really is coming, especially when we saw Native White losing out on Gilkey. And a lot of people were coming into the streams and to my stream yesterday and talking about there's no way that Native White are gonna trade Gilkey out. That's impossible. Gilkey was so clutch for the team, and this is that and the third. And I said, yes, I agree. Gilkey is a stud. But again, when we're talking about this level of competition, we have to talk about play styles and fits. And you guys heard when I did that interview with McWin. He talked about wanting to play a Halo similar to the way FaZe are playing right now, and they want to be slay heavy. They want to up the tempo, and they want to be in your face and stop the enemy teams from being objective efficient, because you're always dead. That's literally almost verbatim what he said. It's hard to be objective efficient when the enemy team is dead. And although Gilkey is a phenomenal slayer and he gets kills, Callis himself, Coach Callis, talked about Gilkey being more of a back player, more of a back role, and supporting his teammates from behind. as opposed to maybe a player that's a little bit more in your face, higher damage dealer, and more of an entry frag player, which again it sounds like what Native White were looking to get into. So Native White, again, with Complexity already losing out on Cycle, you have to imagine that Complexity getting their roster blown up a little bit, and another young superstar in the making. Cycle finds a home in Rebellion. Collect finds a home with Native White, and well, at least with Scrims, again, nothing confirmed just yet. Even signing up for the Face It doesn't exactly confirm it, but we do see Collect scrimming with Native White once again, reunited Collect and McWin. This was supposed to be a thing. I don't guys remember not too long ago we were talking about the fact that McWin and Collect may ultimately be teaming together. And there was like whole buyouts and stuff, and that's one of the reasons why Native went out of their way. And now we see it once again. This can be huge. When I think of Tapping Buns, when I think of Barker, when I think of Collect, when I think of McWin, I think of a play style that is a lot like FaZe. I honestly I feel like this can really work for Native White. And love Gilkey, but Collect just plays a lot different of a role, and I think Gilkey's gonna find an amazing home. I can't wait to see exactly where that will be. But I like the idea of Collect teaming up with these guys and seeing what Native White can do. They've had a bit of up and down. You know, obviously Charlotte out of the open bracket into top 4 was huge. After that, they weren't able to find a lot of success online, but I mean, they did ultimately go to LAN again in Dallas. They got top 8, which to me is not bad. But when we talked to McWin early on, he wants to be a top 4. He wants to be a legitimate top 4 contender. Like, he wants to go at it with the Elite 3. And even though I feel like top 8 isn't bad, I'm not sure if McWin was exactly happy with getting top 8, and I guess clearly not, because Native White lets it go in a little bit of a different direction, and now we see Collect coming in, and we're going to see what this team is really made of. I'm excited. I hope this actually stays together. Already scrimming and putting in work, so that's a really good sign that this really is happening. Hive are in a weird scenario. So there's a chance that the roster could get poached, but I'm hearing a lot different. I'm hearing that this Hive move was temporary, with them signing this roster for one event. I'm hearing that they do want to make a move to sign them on a more permanent basis, but you got to look at all the rosters that are kind of blowing up. Like for example, we're talking about G1 and Complexities and all the rosters that are going crazy. I think a lot of teams can be comfortable with signing a roster that's been together for a bit, that are staying together, putting the work together, and have a little bit of consistency within the roster. So maybe Native want to make another team. Maybe G1 want to go in and grab this crew. Maybe Complexity, with their roster kind of getting poached upon, they decide they want to make a move. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to try to make a move on this Hive roster, especially if they stay together, because orgs like consistency. So that's what that's also what I'm hearing. There's still a chance that one or two of the players could get poached. I mean, there's a lot of movement going on, but I'm hearing a little bit different from that end. G1, again, we come back to here where we see that Suppressed ends up not on the roster for whatever reason, and is scrimming with Tusk, Gilkey, and Carmea. By the way, I do want to add in here that while we're talking about this crew, this was their early scrims. By later that night, this team was scrimming again, but instead of having Carmea, they had a Smurf filling in that role. And whenever you have a Smurf filling in that role, it tells me that player wants to keep his identity concealed for whatever reason. maybe that player is somewhat committed to their team already, or to something happening, and they want to test their options a little bit, and that's maybe that's one of the reasons why they're going this way, or maybe it's, you know, contractually, you know, with another squad, and it is whatever the reason may be. So when I think of some of the players, or from what I'm hearing, some of the players are, I'm hearing the likes of maybe a Suspector, maybe a King Nick. I'm hearing that maybe a player on Hive could be filling in with this role. I don't believe that one so much, but I'm hearing there could be a few different players on who it could be. But either way, like I said, they were scrimming in the early day with one team, and eventually on the later day with another player. Just wanted to put that out there. The rest of the G1 situation, we're gonna ultimately save the rest of the G1 situation for another video. I've heard a lot of good things, and I'm excited to see where they go. We're gonna save that for a little bit later. Complexity, again, I mean, it kind of started with the four logos, come with the Complexity logos, and yeah, the team just blew up, and Psycho ends up on Rebellion, potentially. Collect ends up on Native White again, potentially. Tusk is trying to, you know, put something together here, and trying a couple of different ways in order to do so. Complexity, things are complex. Things are complex over in Complexity Land. I'm trying to make sure I don't get myself in trouble with the way I'm saying it, but I hear that Complexity are testing out a lot of different options, and that's probably the best way I can put it without giving up too much. We'll talk about this soon with another video, and the same thing with Sentinels, same thing as G1. Sentinels Sentinels were making a move 2 nights ago, apparently, not last night, but the night before, and that was one move. I was like, okay, I like that. Then for whatever reason, it didn't work. And then yesterday afternoon, I heard of a new way that they're going. And then I heard literally just today that it's almost 100% where Sentinels are going. And I think a lot of people are going to sleep on the Sentinels move. But if it works, number one, it's going to be the biggest change that we've seen so far, outside of Complexity, who kind of got their roster blown up. It's going to be the biggest change that we've seen so far, number one. And if it works, it legitimately could be the best move out of all the rosters. Like as far as like impact goes, from a team that was top 12, and what they could be if this goes through is insane. But again, I'm going to save that for another video, Central G1, and that brings me back to Native Red. And I've heard conflicting stuff about Native Red as well. I heard Drugs to be able to make it Arlington. Then I heard that they're going to be running with Bohm for Arlington, and possibly permanently. And then finally, I heard that I heard something else I'm not going to tell y'all, but I heard they were going to poach another player, and then I heard that it's between Bohm and possibly one of the free agents that are still available, something like a Suppressed or a Suspector or a Guilty or whatnot. They're looking at one of the major free agents that are going in between Bohm and one of them. I did get something a little bit more concrete, but I'm sorry, I can't put that out there. If anybody, I promise you guys, if anybody else puts it out like on a Reddit or a Twitter, I will confirm it or not. But you guys know my rule. I don't leak information. I just kind of talk about what's already out there. And some of these moves that I know of aren't exactly out there just yet, but I think we got some good intel between what could be the new Complexity roster, what most likely is Native White, very dangerous team. I like this team a lot. Shopify Rebellion bringing in Cycle, which I think this was a huge acquisition for Shopify Rebellion, and considering they had a really good event as top 6, who knows what this means for Shopify Rebellion going forward. And eventually the rest of the teams, again, I'm telling you right now, the top 3 are staying the same. The rest of the teams in North America are changing, and when we get to Arlington, you're not going to recognize any of them. But yeah, that's your HCS Weekly Report. Trust me, we're coming up with another one very soon, maybe even tomorrow. We'll be able to see what after catching this video. Thank you so much, guys. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff in the comments whenever you interact with the videos. It's always good for the algorithm, so help your brother, help your boy out. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.